Hello, Elise here from Miss McKenna's Life Leverage, and today I'll be taking you through my Christmas themed bullet journal setup for December. I'm super excited about this month because I really feel like I've hit a kind of sweet spot with my bullet journal. I think I've finally worked out what kind of spreads I really want in each month, and I've almost perfected the layouts and the order that I want things to go in so that I can be the most productive and organised that I've ever been. As of December, I'll have been bullet journaling for one whole year, and during this time, I've tried lots of different things in my journal. Some things have worked really well, and other things I've decided to eliminate completely. So, from all these experiences, in the last couple of months, I've been combining all my favourite things that work well for me in my journal. And as a consequence, I'm finding it easier to keep on top of things and not fall off the wagon. There have been times where I really just don't feel like using my bullet journal and I've struggled to keep up with it, but I've started to focus less on the arty side of things and more on the practical side and really concentrating on what keeps me focused. And I'm finding it much easier to stay motivated and productive. As of January, I'll be combining the spreads that I love and the order in which they work best for me, but with a more minimalistic vibe. And I'll be taking things back to basics to see how that works for me. This month, however, is a really special one for me. My first ever bullet journal video was my December plan with me, and it's still one of my favourites. So I wanted to recreate what I did in December 2017 and see if I could expand and improve on it. And that includes lots of Christmas themed colours and doodles. So I decided to wait till January to start on a more minimalistic path. So as this spread is based on my 2017 December setup, you might be familiar with this cover page, although I have changed it so that it covers the full 2 pages, and I've included more decorations, and I'm really pleased with how this cover page turned out. I love the idea of a warm, crackling fire while the snow falls outside, with candles burning and stockings hung, and the milk and cookies set up for Father Christmas. I've also added a little carrot for the reindeer, and even a little piece of cheese for the little mouse outside his house. I had to add a little cat curled up by the fire as a dedication to my beautiful new little kitten, and with the warm blankets and fluffy slippers, it all just feels really cozy and comforting. I had so much fun creating this page, so I really hope you all enjoy it too. So now we're on to my monthly spread, and I'm not going to lie, I don't love this spread as much as the one I did in 2017, but I wanted something that was quite clean and simple looking, because over on the next page, I've got a space for a big monthly overview, which you'll see in a moment. And that spread includes lots of extra things that I've not tried before, so that spread is quite busy. So I wanted something a bit cleaner looking for this page so that I can easily see what's going on this month at a glance. In October, I tried the more traditional and simple vertical layout for the month at a glance, and I really have enjoyed using it, but I also like to see the month in a calendar view. So for January, I've worked out a way that I can fit both on one page, as well as some extra information, and it looks really clean and pleasing to the eye, so I'm really looking forward to showing you that in my next plan with me. You might have noticed that I'm in a different journal again. In September, I ran out of space in my dingbats, so I went out on a limb and I tried a new brand because I thought I'll only be using it for 3 months because I want to start with a fresh journal in January. So if I don't like it, it doesn't matter because I won't be using it for long. Well, I tried that, and in October, I decided I hated the journal. The ghosting was really bad, the pages were flimsy, and even though it was an A5 size, the dot grid was on a bigger sort of scale, which meant I actually had less space, so I couldn't fit the spreads on the pages quite right. But I thought, there's no point buying another new notebook just for 2 months. I'll just have to put up with it for now. And so I carried on with November, and I've tried really hard to persevere with it, but I just couldn't do it. And with December being a special one for me, I wanted to feel comfortable with the products I was using. So I gave up. I've given in and gone back to the brand Lemome. Now, I'm only using it for December because, as I say, I want to start fresh in January, but this is the exact same journal as the one I've chosen for 2019. So I've been using the back of this one to plan out my spreads for next year because obviously the spacing is all the same. So I'm really glad I gave in actually, because it's been a great place to plan my setup for 2019 without worrying about messing things up, which has meant I've been able to be a bit more experimental without worrying about ruining the next year's planner. Plus, I've been able to design some new weekly setups for my more minimalistic theme for next year, and I can just pick out my favourites. So this planner won't be going to waste. And the last one will just have to rest in peace. So this is my next monthly spread, and I created this because even though for the most part I use my bullet journal for keeping track of appointments and tasks, as a space to get all the clutter from my brain down onto paper, and just as a tool to get my life in order, I also wanted to start incorporating more journaling and have it be something to look back on over the years to jot my memory of how my life and my self-development is progressing. But I'm not very good at actually sitting and journaling every day because I never know what to write about. And at the minute, I just don't feel like I have a lot of time to dedicate to that sort of thing. So I've created this page as an easy way to take a sort of snapshot of the month. And by combining this with the other spreads that I'm using for each month, I feel like it gives me a really simple overview of where I am in my life, what I'm doing, what's going well, what's not going well, how I'm feeling, and how I'm evolving. So on this page, I have a space for my goals, the highlight of the month, the low point of the month, what I'm watching, such as films I've enjoyed or series I'm currently watching, things that I might be reading, whether that be self-development books or just fictional ones, a space for things I'm listening to, which could be music or even podcasts, a space for what I'm learning that month, whether that be in my personal life or business or even just for pleasure, and then I have a space for how I'm feeling. Now, I do have a space where I log my mood each day, but that's on a kind of graph scale. Having this space means I can name the emotions and write down what's contributing to them. The two columns on the left and right hand side give me space to write something every day, and I haven't finalised my decision on what I'll use them for, but at the moment I'm thinking one of them can be used for a single word to describe the day, and the other can be used for something I've actively and consciously done to improve my life and my happiness. As someone who's a bit of a people pleaser, I sometimes forget to take care of myself. So I want to make sure that I'm doing at least one thing every day to take care of my own well-being, whether that be taking time out for a bubble bath, pampering myself with a face mask or doing my nails, going for a short walk in the fresh air, treating myself to guilt-free yummy things, or even just taking a bit of time out just to quiet my mind and meditate. I'm actually working on making a list of self-care ideas at the moment, so if you have any suggestions on things that I can add, let me know down in the comments because I would love to hear them. So here I'm starting on my habit and fibro tracker, and this is a particularly helpful page for anybody that suffers from a chronic illness or even depression and anxiety. And I've changed it up this month. Honestly, the reason for doing this was just because I wanted to recreate a spread I did last year when I used different wine glasses and things to track my mood, and I wanted to use it simply for the fact that it's just fun and I like the way it looked, but I wasn't sure how to incorporate it, so it meant moving things around a bit. So I've got the usual things I track. This includes my mood level, how much pain I'm in, how much energy I have, and how poorly I might be feeling. If you don't know, I have fibromyalgia, which causes widespread pain, brain fog, fatigue, and a host of other crappy things. I've also been diagnosed with chronic fatigue. So this space is to track how the fibro and CF affect me on a daily basis, and to see if there are any correlations between what I'm doing, eating, how much I'm sleeping, and all that sort of thing, in an attempt to reduce my symptoms. It also helps me be more realistic about what I can achieve in a day and how much I should plan to do that day, because I can estimate how much energy I might have that day or week by looking at any trends in my energy levels. I use a scale of 1 to 5 on each section and just put a dot where I'm at each day, so it ends up looking like a line graph by the end of the month. The left-hand side is where I've used the wine glass tracker. I didn't use it for my mood level because I find having that in a line graph form really helps me to see very easily any correlations between the things I track. It's just a really easy, straightforward way to understand what's going on. So I decided to use the glasses as a way to track whether or not I had a productive day, because I haven't managed to figure out why some days I seem to be able to get lots done and other days I don't. It doesn't seem to be related to my mood or energy levels, so I'm hoping it will help me figure out what I need to be doing more or less of to be more productive more often. It's really simple to fill out. I didn't want to complicate it any more than I needed to, so I'll only be using two colours to fill in each glass. Green will be for a productive day and red will be for a not productive day. That way I will be able to see really quickly how I'm doing. Since filming this, I've actually redesigned and improved this spread again for January. It'll help me gain even more insight into what's going on, and it should increase my understanding of what's happening and how I can improve my overall health. I really like the way it's turned out. It looks really clean and simple, so I'm looking forward to showing you that next month. Here we're on to my one line a day and my gratitude log. And for the line a day, I just write roughly what I did that day or anything significant that might have happened. I really like this because it's very quick to fill out each day, and when you combine these snapshots of the day, you get a nice easy overview of what you're doing in life and what direction you're travelling in. And then for my gratitude log, I just write one or two things that I'm grateful for that day. And I found this particularly helpful when I've been feeling low, because it helps me to remember that even on the worst days, there's always something to appreciate. And if I let my focus rest gently on those things for a while, it can really help lift my mood. If you're having a particularly bad day where it's hard to find anything positive, you already have a go-to list to help refocus your mind. Then we're on to my successes and improvements spread. For the successes page, I write down something that went well, preferably something that I've achieved rather than something that's happened by luck or chance, because I think it's a really good way to build confidence. If you're having one of those days where you feel like a failure, or just that your goals might be out of reach, you can look back at this spread and know that you are capable. And even if things aren't going perfectly, at least you can see that you're trying. It doesn't have to be something outstanding. It could literally be that you cleaned out the fridge or that you managed to put on makeup before you left the house. It obviously depends on where you're at in life and how you're feeling, but I find this spread really encouraging and I have a sense of pride when I look back over the month. The flip side of that is things that you can improve on. As much as it's good to celebrate your achievements, I think we should also acknowledge that there's always room to improve, because that ensures that you keep growing. Once again, it doesn't have to be anything big or scary, just something small that you could change that would instantly improve your life just a little bit. For instance, I had spend less time on Facebook, and after the fourth time of writing it, it became really clear that it was something that really needed my attention. And since then, I've been more mindful about how much time I'm wasting on social media. So this is just a great simple spread for finding small ways to improve your life. Here we're onto my food log, and this spread is a new addition to my planner. Usually I'd track my meals on my weekly pages, but I found that it wasn't really giving me a good overview of the whole month because I'd have to flip through the weeks to get an idea of my eating habits. So this was something I made after filming my November plan with me. I found using this layout is much better for me because when I look back on what I have so far for November, I can see that most days I'm missing breakfast and lunch, and I'm just having a very small snack to keep me going throughout the day, which obviously isn't healthy. You'd think I'd know this already, seeing as I'm the one doing it every day, but it's not something I was consciously aware of until I added this spread. The only thing I'm going to do differently for December is write in two colours. I'll use green for healthy meals and red for unhealthy meals because that'll give me a really good idea of where I need to change my diet, which will hopefully improve my energy levels by keeping them more consistent rather than having huge spikes and troughs. Next, I'm creating a master tasks list, and I've used different shaped gift tags so that I can separate my tasks for the month into different categories. It's not something I usually do, but to be honest, I just wanted to recreate this spread from last year because I thought it was really cute, but I wasn't sure how to incorporate it, so that's how I've decided to use it. And you never know, I might find that having the tasks categorized helps to keep my thoughts organized. So I'll just see how this spread works out as I go through the month. On the left-hand page will be my habit tracker, which is something I usually include on my spread where I track my fibro symptoms. But because I changed some layouts, there wasn't enough space to put it there this month. So I've decided to change my tracker this month and make the most of the extra space. I used to track a lot of things, sometimes purely out of curiosity, but I found I didn't really need to because I wasn't finding the information particularly helpful or useful. So I scaled it down a bit to just the things that I felt affected my fibro and my mood, or just a few things that I know I wanted to do more often so that I wouldn't feel overwhelmed. But next year, I really want to focus on building better habits and focusing more on the things that are actually important in the long run, like spending quality time with my children or learning new things with them. So this month, I've added a lot more so that I can see roughly how I'm currently doing in regards to each of these things, so that I've got a better idea of what needs extra attention next year. I have changed things a little again on my spread for January because in this one the tasks and goals are sort of jumbled. So when I have this spread next year, it will literally just be the habits I want to build. And I've worked out a way to include the other things I want to track on my other tracking page. So now we're going to be moving on to my weekly layouts, and I'm going to really speed through these because this video is already getting pretty long and they kind of speak for themselves, so you can just see what I'm doing. I have decorated most of them quite heavily, but pretty much with just presents, baubles and stars, so they're really easy to recreate if that's something you wanted to try. I do use a different spread for each week. I like to change things up so that I don't get bored, and over the last few months I've been setting all my weeks up in one go, because if I don't, sometimes I'm just not in the mood to set stuff up, and they end up half-arsing it at the last minute, and then I have to use a spread that I'm not really happy with for a week. So I like to get them all done in one go, and then that way I know I'm done for the month, and all I have to do is fill out throughout the month. Okay, so this is the part of the video where I ask for your help. I'd really like your opinions and input because I want to make sure I'm sharing content that you'll enjoy and find useful. So I have a few questions for you. I've been considering making a few new kinds of videos, so I'm going to let you know what they are, and if any of them appeal to you and you'd be interested in seeing them, please let me know down in the comments and then I can work on making them for you. Okay, so the first videos I'm thinking of are sort of real-time daily plan with me's to show you how I plan out my days in real time throughout each week and when and how I fill each spread in. They'll be a bit more chatty and give you a little more insight into my life and my actual planning process. The next ones are clean with me videos. I haven't always been the tidiest person in the world. It's just not something that comes naturally to me. But it's something I've been working on over the years because I know I function better when my space is clean, organised and decluttered. It just keeps my head clear and I find it much easier to be productive and get things done. Plus it just lifts my mood when I'm living in a space that's enjoyable to be in. I've personally found watching Clean With Me videos to be really motivational when I'm in a cleaning slump. There's just something really satisfying about seeing a space go from being chaotic and disorganised to fresh and clean and orderly. Orderly. I was going for organised and orderly. Anyway, that then sort of motivates me to crack on with my own home. I'm by no means the tidiest person in the world now, but I am much better than I once was, and things don't get out of hand and become overwhelming like they used to, because I've picked up lots of tips from other people, and now I actually quite enjoy cleaning. So if that's something you'd like to see, let me know. A couple more videos I've been thinking of are morning and evening routines. I have two boys, an almost 9-year-old and a 2-year-old, and so my routines can sometimes change depending on what they have going on every day. Plus, sometimes I have to tweak what I'd normally do depending on my health and fibro symptoms. But always, my main aim is to start and end my day in a way that makes it easier for me to stay on track with my long-term goals and give me as much chance for success in the future as possible. And finally, I'm wondering if you fancy a sort of blah, 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 blah. I'm wondering if you fancy a short Q&A video. Maybe I should try that again. Oh no, sorry, I'll leave it. Right. Okay. I'm wondering if you fancy a sort of Q&A video where you can ask me any sort of questions that you'd like so that you can get to know me better. In the last year, I've gained over 5,000 subscribers, and I've been so humbled and overwhelmed by all the love and support you've given me. So I thought I'd give you a chance to get to know me better if that's something you'd be interested in. So if you have any questions, ask them down in the comments and I'll see about making a separate video to answer them as best I can for you. So yeah, those are my ideas, and hopefully you like some of them. If you do, like I say, please let me know, because I don't want to start making videos that you're not interested in. And also, if you have any ideas that I haven't come up with, just stuff that you'd like to see, then let me know and I'll see what I can do. So that's all my weeklies set up, and I was supposed to go onto my time log and task log spreads that I talked about in the last video, but instead we're onto my dream log because I forgot to add it before my weeklies. It's a spread that I've only just started using, so I completely forgot about it. But I wanted to make sure I had it somewhere because I really like having it. I'm someone who has really vivid dreams, and usually 5 or 6 different dreams throughout a night. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I just feel like I need another sleep because I feel like I've been busy all night. Unfortunately, 99% of my dreams are pretty awful nightmares, and they used to sort of stick with me throughout the next day, sort of like they were haunting me. I'd have a vague sense of what happened, and they'd keep repeating on me, so sometimes I carry a really uneasy feeling throughout the day. But since I've been writing them down, this doesn't happen anymore. It's like once the dream is down on paper, I can just let it go, and it no longer repeats on me. Plus, it's really interesting to look back on what I've dreamt. I also sometimes experience sleep paralysis or false awakenings, so this is a good place to track that to help me figure out what's causing those. So finally, we're on to the last spreads. I'm not going to go into any detail here. I did explain what they're for and how I'm using them in my last video, so I'll leave a link in the description for that one for if you'd like to know more about it. I'm going to wrap this video up now because it's getting really long. So as usual, you can find links to all the products I'm using in the description. I'll also leave links to my Facebook group and Instagram page. If you decide to recreate any of these spreads, I'd love it if you tagged me on Instagram because I really like seeing your recreations. Remember to like this video if you enjoyed it because it really helps my channel to grow, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thanks for watching, and I wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas.